In Python, textual data is represented with strings, and strings in Python can be created with double quotes or with single quotes. I use double quotes here, but we can equally use single quotes and we would get the same result. If you're wondering where I'm running this code currently, by the way, I'm using Google's Colab, and if you search for Google Colab, it will be first one to show up, and using a Google account, you can start coding from anywhere with a browser connection. Google Colab is actually pretty similar to a Jupyter notebook, but if you prefer to use PyCharm or another IDE or notebook, all of the code I write here will work in yours as well. When you want to store your string for later use in Python, you can assign this value to a variable in Python, such as you can call it myString, would be pretty descriptive, and you can just say hello. So if I just do this and click on run, nothing will happen because I'm not printing anything on this line. So for me to actually display this as a result of a print, I would have to refer to this hello string either directly using this all of the string or using the variable name. So in this case, I would say print my string, and I would run that and I would get the result as my string, which is hello. So let's say you are greeting people in your program and you want to have a variable that will hold greeting message. So you might say greeting. That would say hello there. So that would work if you're just fine with general greeting. But if you want to personalize it, what you could do is create a variable for a name. And let's say you get people's name by asking them with an input. And when people enter their name, you have access to it. So in this case, string Doga, which is my name, would be represented with my name variable. And rather than saying hello there, which is a general message, we could greet someone with their name. This is something we could do by using something called an f string, which is something that is introduced to the Python with Python version 3.6. And by placing an f prior to our string, we now turn this into an f string. And now I can use a curly brace here that will hold the name variable. So if I do this, nothing will print because I didn't say print. So let's go ahead and print greeting. And now we have a personalized greeting, which is better now. So before going any further, one thing you should know is that every character in your sentence will be indexed starting from 0. In this case, D will be 0, O will be 1, 2, and 3. So how would we use it? Well, we can actually access them using square brackets. So if we print that, we print name, and in square brackets, I can give an index such as 2. And now it gives me the second index, which is when we start from 0, goes from 0, 1, 2, which is letter G here. And if I say 0, it should give me a capital D, which it did. So with everything I did here until now, I could either use a double quote or single quote to create these strings. But if I wanted to say something that includes a quotation, such as something like, so the way I would include a quote normally would be adding a double quotation. But when I do this, and if I were to try to print this, it would give me an error, which it did. So one way I could eliminate this would be by turning these double quotations into single quotations, and that would solve my issue. And now I can successfully print that. Another way I could do that would be still using double quotations, but including what's called an escape character, which is a backslash, right before the special character that I want to use. When I'm using double quotes inside another double quote, I could use this backslash, and when Python sees this, it will know that it should also print this quote as well. And in this case, I can again successfully print my quoted sentence. Another major concept in strings in Python is slicing. To slice a string, we can just get a string, which can be greeting string from here, and we would first of all print it. And at the end of the string or variable attached to that string, what we would do is add a square bracket, and we would define a range where we could slice the string. If you just give colon and print it, we would print all the string. And if we give a range, let's say from first index to third index, I want to print. What it would give me is EL, which is first letter is the 0th index, so we will start from E as the first index. We will include the second index, but something you should know is that it won't print the last index in here. So index number 3 is actually not included in this printing function because of the way slicing works. So if you want to reach to 5th index but not print the 5th index, you could write it like this. Or if you just want to start from the first index and print till the end, you would simply leave that empty and it would start from the first index and print everything until the string ends. We could do the opposite as well. So if you don't give a starting index but just an ending index, such as 5, it would start from the beginning of the string and print until the 5th index, which it wouldn't print. So it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4th index, which should be 5 letter because we are starting from 0. Lastly, another thing I want to mention is that when we're using f strings, we don't have to just use a variable. We could use any expression here. And an expression in a nutshell is basically some code that collapses into a value after being calculated. So what does it mean for you? Well, for starters, something you can do is you could print things where you could make some calculations as well. So let's have an f string in which we could say 1 plus 2 is open and close curly brace, and inside that we would do the calculation, which would be 1 plus 2. And the result is not 1 plus 2, but because we are using an f string in the proper format, we're getting actually the result of that calculation printed inside the string. So these were some basics about Python strings. If you don't want to miss out on my future Python tutorials as well as machine learning tutorials, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.